Hi everyone, welcome to our final NVCP presentation where we present to you Agro, a sustainability consulting and certification company. Let me begin first with Agro's mission and vision. So first of all, we see it as our mission at Agro to empower resilient dairy ecosystems and enable farmers to minimize their environmental impact, embrace circular economy principles, and build a more sustainable future for all. The vision here is to pioneer a greener energy industry and lead Argentina's dairy industry transformation, so that by 2030 we can see dairy farms thriving as hubs of sustainability. As we all know, action against climate change is increasingly taking central stage globally. This includes a global push to reduce emissions, and industry, especially the dairy industry, must address their emissions to continue. This also includes global emission reduction goals, which are pressuring the dairy industry, the global shift towards decarbonized economy, as well as the increasing trend of circular economy, which promotes transforming the dairy waste into resources and creating sustainable global supply chains. So you may be wondering, how are the factors we just discussed impacting Argentina's dairy industry specifically? So first of all, there are environmental concerns in which dairy producers are looking into understanding their own carbon footprint and as well as assessing the carbon footprint of their supply chain. Secondly, there's a growing demand for low emission milk. For instance, large milk consuming companies such as Nestle or Mondelez have publicly committed to source their milk from low carbon producers. And lastly, decarbonization as a policy driver. So there is a need to reduce methane emissions from livestock to enhance the industry's resilience to climate change impacts. So after having seen the situation, how can Agro help you? We at Agro pursue a three-pronged approach. So first of all, we aim to offer tailored solutions of sustainability consultancy, where with our expertise, we are able to deliver tailored sustainability consultancy for dairy producers of all sizes. Secondly, with sustainable production certification, the producers can indeed certify their best practices, which adapts them to the volatility of the dairy industry. And lastly, best practices implementation. So here we design and assess the current supply chain and practices of the company and provide them with implementation support, with innovative and proven solutions to ensure the sustained green growth of their business. To successfully grow Agro's business, however, the company needs collaborations as well as partnerships. Here we identified three key kinds of partners. First, are pre-existing agro-industrial consultants. These are already established branch in Argentina, and usually they offer all kinds of agro-industrial advice. Through partnering up with us, they would be able to expand their services to their pre-existing client base by including the sustainability dimension. Secondly, as we aim to offer also construction support and planning, we would be partnering up with construction contractors to be able to outsource those construction activities as well as provide the clients with a proven network of already approved contractors. And lastly, agricultural cooperatives and associations. These are already a big player in the Argentinian dairy industry, and through partnering up with them, we would be able to facilitate the implementation of cutting-edge sustainable solutions in their networks. What does the dairy farm get out of it in terms of benefits? So first of all, our sustainable transformation ensures that they adhere to environmental as well as quality standards. Secondly, through the sustainable transformation, the company is able to position itself better in the market with increased visibility, consumer trust, and thus growing demand. And lastly, This improved positioning then in turn allows the company to go global, access premium markets with the highest standards, thus the highest prices, as we already saw with the increasing demand of carbon neutral sourced milk by the large dairy companies such as Nestle or Mondelez, thus enabling a sustainable national dairy industry growth. We've seen our business model. You may ask yourself now, how did Agro actually validate this business? So during our thought process, we came up initially with 4 key hypotheses. So first of all, consumers are demanding more sustainable dairy products. Secondly, the dairy companies are adopting to this trend and thus are certifying their sustainable practices as a consequence. Thirdly, there's a big gap in Argentina regarding the application and enforcement of international sustainability standards in the dairy sector. And lastly, dairy companies, having all this in mind, will be pushing their operations in Argentina to adopt sustainable practices in the coming years. So keeping the previously mentioned hypotheses in mind, what did our actual validation process return us as far as answers go? So we carried out over 10 interviews with industry as well as academia practices, and here we found out 3 key takeaways. So first of all, the sustainability shift in Argentina, it's still in its early stages. That means that producers at the moment are mostly looking into the emissions that their supply chains generate before taking specific action. Secondly, as these are all private businesses, increases in revenue or efficiency at the moment are prioritized. And lastly, there is a lack of meaningful incentives from the policy side, so action there hasn't been decisive. However, we took another independent survey where we asked over 100 persons across various demographic groups of consumers in 2024, where we found out, first of all, food labels actually matter to people. So over 80% of the people we interviewed actually consider labels when they are buying dairy products. Secondly, almost 20% also consider CO2 labels when purchasing products. And lastly, almost 60% are willing to actually pay more for those sustainable products.
Now, you may be wondering, what numbers are we talking about? What's the market potential? And as you may have guessed, the market is huge. In the whole world, over 13 billion USD are invested annually in milk infrastructure. In Argentina, in particular, this amounts to over 200 million. And now, if we only focus on the milk suppliers to multinational firms, which are the ones pushing towards sustainable practices, we're talking about 5.2 million USD if we only focus on the 10% of the market. Even though the market opportunity is enormous, we need to have a clear strategy in how to proceed with it to implement our business successfully. Our business roadmap is divided into 4 different stages. On the first phase, what we call market entry, we will focus on the south of the Santa Fe province. This is where most of the agricultural activity is located, and in particular, the milk industry. Our targets here are 3. The first one is to develop a rich agro-industrial consultant network to expand our client base. The second one is to improve our market knowledge firsthand by having meetings with specific clients. And the third one is to secure our first client to grow from there. In our second phase, what we call the scale-up, we will still focus on the same region, the Santa Fe province. And there, we would focus on consolidating and expanding the team, enriching the partners network, also securing partnerships with large organizations, and provide our first certification to show the world what we are capable of. The third phase, the expansion phase, will be a geographical expansion phase in which we will expand ourselves from the south of the Santa Fe province to the Pampa Húmeda, where 90% of the agro-industrial facilities are located. Here, we aim something similar as before, but on a wider scale. We aim to expand our operations and expand our partners as well as enriching them, and get to know Agro as a known national players. Also, we plan to enhance our client base and our services portfolio. Last but not least, we enter the phase 4, beginning in the 20th month. Here, we aim to expand at a national level as well as start planning our activities internationally, and also expand our team and diversify and enlarge the opportunities we bring to our clients. Of course, setting up the business and running it will need serious investment. That is why we expect to invest 30,000 euros to cover equipment procurement and salary costs, and moreover, a bank loan of 5,000 USD to ensure long-term liquidity. This is all to keep 100% of ownership. Why? Well, how much are we expecting to get in return, Martin?
$250,000!
That's right, Martin. $250,000 after only 2 years. The successful implementation of our business strategy will result in continuous quarterly growth in revenue, sustained by both our comprehensive management packages and our basic compliance packages based on our expanding client base. This revenue will go mostly to our employees, because we believe that we need to give them competitive salaries and working conditions. You may notice that in the last quarter we close on the down. This is due to a taxes payment. However, if we analyze the whole year, we still have a good revenue competitive to other industries in the sector. All this quarterly growth that was presented manifests itself on the right graph. Here we can see that jumping from 3 clients, 5 employees, and less than 30,000 USDs in revenues in month 6, after only 18 months, finishes with 15 clients, 29 employees, and over 130,000 USDs in revenues. And now, let's meet the team that will make this all happen. On my right, we have Martin, and then Amro, Yisi, Maria, Lale, and me, Felipe.
We're a diverse team from a multicultural background with experience in business, engineering, natural sciences, and we are all driven together by our passion for sustainability. It's been a great pleasure to work on this project for the past year and to present this ambitious project to you today. Thank you very much for your attention.